My name is Moran Vardi. I am Primo VE business analyst. So as you all started, this is the second part of a two-part series on normalization rules in the knowledge days. Yesterday, Yo started and presented the session of normalization rules in ARMA. And this session will be about normalization rules for search and display. We will talk about how to use them. Just let me start the presentation. Just a second, sorry. We'll talk about how to use normalization rules, and we'll also do an overview about local fields and out-of-the-box display fields. During the session, I will demonstrate some examples so you can see how it is working and how to configure it. But basically, this is not a presentation on syntax. It's more about the concept. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. I will answer during the session between the topics I have. So as I started, we will talk about how to manage local fields and also how to manage normalization rules of out-of-the-box display fields. So let's start with how to manage local fields. So local fields allow you to map additional information from the bibliographic records. In Primo VE, we have a large set of local fields that are the most common used. Those fields can be used for display, search, and facet. We've recently increased the number of local from 50 to 100. So you can create now many local fields. In the local fields, there are two methods to use that you can choose according to your needs. So the first one is bibliographic local field mapping, and the second is by normalization rules. We will talk about each method. So the first option, bibliographic local field mapping. When choosing to use local field, sorry, just a second, I just want to see the chat. Okay. So when choosing to use local fields, you have a drop-down here of the closed list of the provided out-of-the-box local fields. You can select from this drop-down the field to display, search, and facet. This screen is after you are creating, you're choosing to create local field. So you can see the full list in the drop-down of our local fields, and also you can see it in the documentation. Of course, it's for each format. I mean, you can see here the local fields we have for MARC and here for Unimarc. So when choosing to use this method and choose local field, it will take all the subfields from the selected field for display and for session facet. We support MARC 21, Unimarc, CoreMarc, and CN Marc. And we also support Dublin Core. The big advantage we have here is that in this configuration is applied immediately, also for search and also for facet. There's no need to recalculate the data in order to see it in the user interface. In the minute you're configuring it, you're adding it to the view, save it, apply it, and you can see it in the front end. The reason you can see it immediately is since we are indexing all the local fields in advance. So this way you don't need to do any action after. So actually, I think in general, in normalization was the best way to see and to understand things is by examples. So I will demonstrate this method. So our use case is the display and search a local field 947, of course, without using normalization rules. So okay, let's start. So I prepared a record in advance. I would like to show you this also in ARMA and also with Primo VE, so you can see the local field I've added. So here in the MD editor, I added the field. Yep. So here we have 947 local field with two subfields, subfield A and subfield B. So currently, when I'm searching it in Primo, not here, sorry. So you can see here the record. In the details tab, we can't see yet the field. So I would like to show you how we can do it. So we're going to ALMA. In Manage Display and Local Fields, we will add a new field, add local field. Sorry, we use local field 7. I will enable it for search. This is an important stage because otherwise we can't see it. We will search for our field. Edit. Save it. Oh, sorry. Let's do some test record. Okay. I will apply the rules, which actually you don't have to because we didn't add any normalization rules, but anyway, we're going to do it. After I added the local field to the list, I need to add it to the view. So we're going to the view, full record services in the details tab. I will add a field. So our field called test record. Okay. And now let's go to front end, refreshing the page. Just a few more seconds. So here you can see it is displayed. Test record donated by Moran Vardi, August 5 in our session. And if you want to search it, so we also will be able to do that. So let's have a try. Here, so this is where we can find. Actually, I was supposed to show you that before I started, we can do it, but if I would search the donated by Moran Vardi before, it wouldn't find it. I tried it in advance, so now you have to believe me. So this is the first method. As you can see, it takes the whole subfield, also subfield A and subfield B, and just display it, and it can be searched. Okay, so this is the first one. So the second option we have is use the normalization rules. In this option, you can use when you want to create local fields from other bibliographic field and not only from the closed list that I mentioned before. There are two options you can see in this screen for the normalization rules. Normalization rules for search and normalization for display and normalization rules for search and facet. The second option of search and facet is not display always, and I will show you how we can display it and how to present it so we can work with that. The advantage of this option, user normalization rules, is if you want to create local field from regular field of Mark 21 or Unimark, or if you want to use specific subfield and not as we did now that we showed subfield A and B without options to play with it. If you want to add actions, conditions, so this is the option you need to use. Normalization rules uses the rules language that probably most of you know from ALMA. You can see it in yours session. So it's the same concept and idea as in ALMA, but the syntax is a bit different. For each local field and display field, we have a template for the rules, as you see here. You can also see here an example of a rule. there is condition and action. You can decide in what fields to present and what are the subfields to use, how and when, according to your needs. So as before, there is normalization for display and for search and facet. You need to create them in separate rules. The implementation of each option is a bit different. We'll talk about every option, so you will see the differences. Normalization rules for display, this is the big advantage here, is applied immediately to the user. The same as before, you just need to create or edit normalization rules, apply the rules, and after refreshing the page, you will see the changes. When you're presenting the records, when you're creating the pin, when we are presenting the records, actually we're creating the panics on the fly, considering the normalization rules. So this is the reason here that you don't need to recalculate the data and just create it for display. Normalization rules for search and facet is different because the search is in the index. When you're creating normalization rule for search and facet, you need to recalculate the data. Unlike using local fields that are from the list and can use them immediately, in this option, you are changing the behavior of the field. So you need to recalculate the data. Since this option is a bit more difficult and require the recalculation, we've decided to limit it up to 10 local fields using normalization rules. But also for this reason, we have created a test tool that you can test the rules you have created. You can choose any record from your catalog that you want to test the rule with and see how it is, how it works and how it will be indexed. And this way you can know that you have no mistakes. So after you're seeing and testing, you can open a ticket case to support and ask them to recalculate your data. So this screen is actually what, after you're trying to edit normalization for local field, this is a template you will see. So since this is the second method, I would like to show you for this also example. So now we're gonna use the same local field as before, but we're gonna do it with normalization rules. So let me open. Okay. So this is what we have started. We have this with A and B. So let's go to the record to display field. If I'm going to the local field now, I can see here that I only have normalization rules for display and not for the search. So let's start with the display and then I will show you how we can add the search. So now we're using 947 field. So here, this is again, I'm showing you the really basics example. So now we're displaying subfield A and subfield B. But now I want to show you if we're changing normalization rules to show only subfield A, we'll see how it will look like in the display. So I'm saving it, find the rules. So as we say for display, it is applied immediately and we don't need to recalculate the data. So I want to search again the record. Here, this is our record. So as you see now, we have now only subfield A. I will give you a reminder of the field we have. So we have subfield A with donate Moran Vardi before it was with August 5 in our session, now it's without. And now we'll do it also for search. So if you want to add it for search, we first should go to AMA configuration. Here we have local field using search and facet. Okay, so now we're going to add the local field. That's strange that I don't have it. Okay, I see I don't have it. I think it somehow happens because the cache. So let's do something else. I'm gonna add a different local field. You know what? I'm just gonna delete it again. Also delete it from. Sorry for this. It's actually good QA. The full record. I will delete it and we'll try to do it again. Sorry. Hope that now we'll see it. If not, I will just add different. Oh, important. You know what? Let me just do something else first. See if it's here. So we're going to add it now. This is saved, and afterward we'll go to manage display and local fields. We'll add it again. Local field 7. It's our test record. And now after I added it in the previous list, which is actually mapping table that saved the local field that use the normalization rules, here you can see this the second option of Mark 21 normalization rule for search and display. So now let's see that this is we have with 947A. And let's do the same for the, actually it's pretty, it's really the same as display. So here we're gonna do, just for the test, we're gonna do B. Now we're gonna save. Oh, but I forgot to do it enable for search. So after you saw it in the display, so I would like to show you the in the search, but if it's for one record, we can do it from AMA to go to MD editor and save and release, but it will take some time. So what we can do is to test it with our test tool. So here we have the test. I want to take our record. Let's try to search it from here. Yeah, this is our record. You can choose whatever you want. And here you can see what will be in the index. So it worked, and we have the search for August 5 in our session. So I can't search it because it won't, I won't be able to find it now because it should, it required recalculation. So you're just gonna have to believe me that it will work. And so this is for now. Do you have any questions till now? we'll see in the chat. Okay. So let's continue. So this was actually the second option with using normalization for local fields. I would like to do some comparison between the methods. It actually is a summary of the differences between the two methods that we talked about. So in bibliographic local field mapping, you can use a closed list of local fields, and in normalization rules, you can use all mark tags. It takes the bibliographic local field mapping takes the whole form tags, mark tags, and in normalization you have the flexibility to use what you want and add actions and conditions. The advantage, the benefit of local fields mapping is that it's applied immediately for all options of display, search, and facet, while in normalization rules for displayed, it's applied immediately, but for search and facet, it requires recalculate of the data. So this is the differences between the two methods. Normalization rules for out-of-the-box display fields. What we have in Primo VE now is out-of-the-box display fields with our normalization rules. We know that customers would like to update the display fields, remove or add fields, etc. So we allow to refine the presentation of the out-of-the-box fields using the normalization rules. We also allow to see the out-of-the-box rules and change it according to your needs. From the out-of-the-box rules, you can learn how to use normalization rules. I think this is the best way. And how to use the syntax. We have simpler rules and there are more complex rules. And this you can see for each by editing each one of the OTB display fields when you're choosing the normalization rules. And also the changes in the out-of-the-box rules are applied immediately. So this is the last example I would like to show you. So we're gonna edit out-of-the-box display field. So let's go back to Primo and Alma. So for our record, I just choose one of the display fields I have here, and I will show you how we're gonna edit. So here, if you can see this, we have the genre here, this field. In the source record, we can see it is coming from the 650 field. We have here subfield A and subfield V. I will show you now. Oh, sorry. We'll go to manage display and local fields. We're gonna add field, the display field. All the display field you want to display are actually in the view, but if you want to change the normalization rules, you should add them to the list here and then edit the normalization rule. So here we want to do the genre. You see here it opens the normalization rules. If I'll do edit, you can see here that these are all the fields that that are taken for this field. We have many here, but we're just gonna do for the 650. So here's the 650. You can see here it takes only subfield V. So what I'm gonna change is that we're gonna display all the subfields. So it's actually pretty easy. We're going to delete this subfield and delete this subfield. But here in the action, you have to tell him what to take. you need to tell if you're taking all the subfields or you want to take it by a specific order or without numeric subfield. So here you have to use it. So let's save it. Going to back, and I will have to apply rules again. And now let's see how it will display. So now you can see also the two subfields we saw. It was A and V, I think. Yeah. So here we have A and V. Before we had only subfield V. So this is very simple. This is applied immediately. You can really play with it, and this is a good way to learn. Do you have any questions for this now? Check. Okay, so let's continue. I hope that if there are no questions, it's clear and not that too easy. Okay. I have here one question, so just a second. So the question is, if we touched the out of the box, is there a restore to the out of the box? Yes, so there is. Let's show it. When we're going to genre, let's try this. When I'm click on edit, so you have here the restore default. So it will go back, but if you're making a lot of changes, so you better keep it somewhere else, just copy and paste it and then restore default, so you won't lose it, because after you're clicking on restore, you won't able to see the changes that you have done. This is specific, very easy, but if you have a big rule, so okay. So I would like to give you some tips and show you the documentation that we have. I think the best tip is when you're starting to use normalization rules, the best thing you can do is to look at an existing rule that's similar to the rule that you want to define and to work with that. That's what I'm doing. I'm not making something from scratch. I'm taking a rule and see how it is working. I'm changing and editing it. You can see many rules in each one of the out of the box display fields as I showed you. If you think you need a complex rule that defines many actions, so you can see it there. And if you think you need a simple rule, as we showed, you can just take an example from there. There is also a blog that I must say here, thank you to you all, because this it's coming from inspiration of him. So I want to show you. The blog have examples. There are not too many of them, but there are a lot of examples that you can use. This is actually examples that coming from customers. Part of them are coming for customers, so you can also search there. Maybe it's not will be with your specific field that you need, but the concept will be the same as maybe as you want and you need. So I really recommend that you will see this blog. This is also the place to say that if you have good examples that you would like to share and you think that might help others, please send it to me and I will add it to the blog. I see here that there's more questions in the chat, so let's see this. I'm not sure. I see here question. Can you please give examples for why does a correct normalization rules will not work? E.g. record needs to be revert. If normalization rules are correct, they should work. I guess you need to check the data. I don't see any reason for correct normalization rules that not going to work. If you have a specific example, so you can send me this after. There's another question. The limit of 10 refers to number of local fields we can use NRS for this. So the limit of 10 is only for the local field using normalization rules for search and facet. It's not for display. So this one you should know. And we have limited it because of the recalculation. So this question came twice. So let's go back to the tips. So the blog, so I talked about the blog. We also have documentation. The first one is in general, how to manage display and local field in Primo VE. You can see here the steps, how to add local field, and it's a bit about the normalization rules, but not about the syntax. And the last one I want to show you, this is our documentation for the syntax. Here also you can see we're always working on this documentation to make it better and that it will help for the customers. You can see here from the examples direct link to the blog. If you click on it, you will get to the blog. So you will have more examples. So we are always working on the improvement of the documentation based on customer feedback. So also here, if you have any comment or feedback that can help us to make the documentation better, please send me an email. This is my email. And you also see the presentation in the link that Tali sent. Let's see here now if we have more questions. Can facet be similarly controlled via normalization rules? So facet, actually we're doing the same. Search and facet are actually the same normalization rules. You just need to click on the, let me show you in the, when you're clicking on enable for field for search, so you're doing it enable for facet, and it will be the same behavior as search. I mean, you need to recalculate it, and then it will display. The normalization rules are the same for search and facet. It's not separately, so it's you need to do it together. Let's see here more questions. We have some more time, so can you please also copy the links you show now? Yeah, sure. I'll copy the links. So here's the first link of the configuration. I'll send it to you. And the second one, this is the syntax we have. Actually, we've worked on it very recently. You see here, last update, June 23. It came from customers, and we really hope it will be good. This is a really good way to start to work with the normalization rules, because we have here many details on actions. We also use some Java routines, so you can see how you can change the Java routines and what are they saying. So you will see if this is what you need or if you need to change it. So this is the normalization rules. And from here, you can go to the blog. I will also put, also copy the link to the blog. We'll see now if there are more questions. This was a really basic presentation about normalization rules. I hope it was helpful and useful to you. see if we have some more. You mentioned the syntax being different. Is there any reason for that? If it's from the syntax is different a bit from AMA and from Primo V. It's the reason is development reason. I'm not really sure to tell you why, but it's the decision. And when they started to develop it, I guess there were different needs. This is the reason. But the syntax here is the concept is the same, and I must say the syntax is pretty easy, but there are many small details that might make the rule to fall. But if you're doing it according to examples, and you will see many tips in the documentation. We have some, syntax that must need this specific action if you're using this condition, etc. So if you're just gonna look at it and ask more people, so it will be very easier. Let's see if I have more. Okay. Okay. I see another question about summon over AMA. Is the service page from Primo VE? Is this the same procedure for? Actually, you know what? I'm really not sure. I can check it. So if you can send me this in email, I will answer it. So I see there are no more questions. So please, if you have anything to tell me, especially examples, the blog is came from inspiration from Yor, and Yor has many examples, but so we're trying to add every time more examples. So please send it to me, and I will add it. So this was for me. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a very nice day. Thank you.